strange young girl living in an abandoned underground city has a lot of inanimate objects for friends. Patrick Rothfuss gives epic fantasy the Manic Pixie Dream Girl story it was not, to my knowledge, asking for, in The Slow Regard of Silent Things. That's the book I'm going to be reviewing on this episode of SFF180. Hello everybody, Thomas here, as always, your host. Thank you so much for joining me. Now, I can fault Patrick Rothfuss for a great many things. Foisting this wisp of a tale onto the book-buying public as a $19 hardcover when, at best, it should have been a $2 Kindle release is probably going to be one I come back to. But I have to give him some credit here. At least he apologizes. Rothfuss tells readers that he is fully aware he has written a 30,000-word vignette that doesn't do the things a story is supposed to do, and in fact only a crazy person, his words not mine, would do some of the things that he does in this story, such as write an 8-page sequence about the character making soap. Well, all props for self-awareness, but that doesn't make the results any more palatable or even readable. Now mind you, I love unconventional narratives. Bring it on. Bring me Dahlgren, Tristram Shandy, Gravity's Rainbow. But I still like for there to be an overall point to the exercise. And I'm afraid that if there is a point to The Slow Regard of Silent Things, it's not really one that deserves to be lauded. Now, I'd be more forgiving of the narrative aimlessness of Slow Regard if it weren't for the fact that I'm already accustomed to Patrick Rothfuss being aimless and meandering at great length from reading The Wise Man's Fear. Here, at least he only subjects us to 150 pages of it rather than 1,000, which is something. But despite its brevity, Slow Regard felt like no less a tedious slog. In his novels, Rothfuss at least had highly readable prose to carry us over those bits of his story where the plot wasn't going anywhere in particular. But here, even that skill seems to have fled him. His attempts at playful whimsy come across as cloying, precious, just plain fake, as if all he did was skim some Neil Gaiman before writing just to pick up a few stylistic pointers. Now, Ori is a minor character from Rothfuss's best-selling and, if you ask me, immeasurably overrated The Kingkiller Chronicles series. A former student of the university that series' hero, Kvothe, is attending, Ori experienced some kind of mental breakdown which has left her charmingly flighty and eccentric. She now makes her home all alone in the Underthing, which is a vast and sprawling, abandoned subterranean city located beneath the university grounds, where she spends her days collecting and naming randomly found items so that, I guess, they'll be less sad. For 150 pages, she mostly does just this. She seems to have a rather plentiful supply of fresh water for bathing. Her gathering and naming and arranging of found objects, which seems to be vital to her mental stability, is a not unfaithful portrayal, perhaps, of someone with strong obsessive-compulsive disorder. But this is where Rothfuss missed his biggest opportunity. Why not tell the story of how Ori became this way? What caused her crack up in the first place? What turned her into the person that she now has become? This would have been the easiest and most obvious step to take, the path that would take this from vignette to actual story. But among whatever tiny slivers of background Rothfuss offers us into Ori's history, that specific thing remains a mystery. If this is meant to be a character study, it doesn't do much in the way of study, except perhaps in one detail. All Ori's actions and her motivations are centered on Kvothe. What will make him happy is what makes her happy. And she appears to have no life goals that don't have him at the center. Thinking of him, especially of a future in which she tends to him and cares for him when the weight of the world is upon him, makes her dance and skip and spin around in happy little circles. Great! Maybe it's just me, but haven't we had enough Manic Pixie Dream Girl stories offered up in low-budget, crap independent rom-com movies? Was anyone particularly asking for that trope to be ported over into epic fantasy? Here was an opportunity to take, as Rothfuss describes her, a broken character and give her some actual depth, give us meaningful insights into her history, her personality, her inner life, her humanity. And as it turns out, she doesn't have much at all in the way of those things. If it is Rothfuss's goal in the end to have Ori be little more than Kvothe's helpmeet, and that these tunnels and chambers deep underground are exactly where she is meant to be, as the story says, well, I personally think she deserves better. Ori, hun, you don't have to settle for being a disregarded silent thing. And that is all I have time for in this episode of SFF180. Remember, everybody, the most important thing, these are reviews. You will not always agree with me, but if you enjoyed watching, please leave a like, share this video far and wide with your SFF reading friends, and above all, please subscribe. That is how SFF180 grows as a channel. And until I see all of you guys next time, happy reading.